Hey man. It's Saturday. Hopefully you guys are doing some revision sheets. Now I went through them. I think this is the only one without solutions, I think. And I'm just going to do the solutions and show you some calculator work so you can see how you'd use it. So here we go. Expanded form of 2x minus 3 cubed. Now, yes, you can do this by hand. In exercise 6a, you learnt the formula a plus b cubed is equivalent to a cubed plus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared, and then plus, I think there was b cubed. One way to remember it is the a's will drop down in power, so 3, 2, 1, and then 0, whereas b's become 0, 1, 2, and then 3. Yeah? But that's the formula to do it by hand. But obviously we don't need to do it by hand. We can do it with a calculator. So here we go. I'm going to show you how to do this on a calculator. Expanded form of 2x minus 3 cubed. So I go to my calculator, go to expand, type expand, or you can go to menu, algebra, and expand is number 3 over there. Okay, so expand, and I can type in bracket 2 times x minus 3 all cubed. Is that correct? Yes. 8x cubed minus 3 minus 27. So I think it's D. Is that correct? Yes, it is correct. Okay. Next one. The remainder when 4x cubed plus x squared minus So remainder, again, you can just substitute 3 in and you get your answer. But again, it's up to you how you want to do it. You can remainder theorem. Remember remainder theorem. You can rearrange this as x minus 3 and find out x and substitute 3 into the equation. Whatever that answer is your remainder. That's exercise 6c. Yeah. Alternatively, you can do the long division and take the cubic divided by linear factor, and you'll get your remainder as well. Anyway. Okay, so if you were to do the remainder, remember you can do number, fraction tools, proper fraction. I'll do control divide to get my fraction, and we've got 4x cubed plus x squared minus 10x, 4x cubed plus x squared minus 10 times x. Oops, x, and then plus 4 over x minus 3. And you can see that because you're dividing by x minus 3, the remainder is 91. Okay, so I already know the remainder is 91, and voila. Okay. Or again, you can define the function and then sub 3 in. So if you went to define, and again, for those who've forgotten how to define, menu, actions 1, so menu 1, 1. Define, and you can do f of x equals to 4 times x cubed plus x squared minus 10 times x plus 4, and you do f of 3, and you get 91 as well. Okay, so that's the remainder theorem. It's up to you which way you want to do it, but I'm just kind of revising your CAS here. Okay, I'm just revising the skills I've taught in class. Next one, same thing with this one. It says p of x is this, so I would probably do define and then find what when I sub negative 2 in, because what this means is, what if I replace all the x's? Okay, what if I replace all the x's with a negative 2? Then what would I get? So, and then that will be the remainder, right? So again, because I already defined it up here, I'm just going to move my cursor up, bring this down by pressing enter, and I just adjust the equation. So it's 2x cubed minus 4x squared, 2 times x cubed minus 4x squared. Plus 3x minus 7 plus 3 times x minus 7, and what I want to find is subbing negative 2 in. So if I sub negative 2, it's negative 45, so my answer is A. Okay. Next one, factorizing. So again, you can use difference of perfect cubes. That's exercise 6c in the special formulas. Or you can just go to your CAS, and again, remember, if you got expand, you got solve. In the algebra, then you also got factor, which is factorizing. So your factor in this case is 64 times x to the power of 3 minus 343 y to the power of 6, was it? Yeah. But don't forget, when you move your cursor across, remember you have comma x in the brackets. Okay, so you have to have the comma x. Do that, and that's 4x minus 7y squared. So it looks like it's either A, B, or D. And then 16x squared, yeah, they're all 16x squared, plus 28 plus 49. Plus 28 plus 49, so that's D. Next one, the value of x that satisfies the equation. In this case, you're obviously trying to solve this equation with x. So again, the last tool that I taught you in terms of the calculator section is you can do solve. You can type in the equation, so 4 times x minus 1, oh no, it's plus 1, plus 1 to the power 3 minus 500 equals 0, but remember you're solving for x, so comma x, and there we go, x equals 4, so D. Okay, so far you notice the way I'm doing it, I'm just using my CAS right here, and that's the expectation that you need to be able to do. So the graph y equals x cubed minus x squared minus 10x minus 8 looks most like, well, we can tell that the y-intercept is negative 8 because when x equals 0, they all cancel out and you get negative 8. So anywhere that doesn't have a y-intercept of negative 8 is wrong. So it looks like they all have negative 8 except B. And now you just got to find which one is likely to be the x-intercepts, because they're all positive graphs. And actually, not they're all positive. This is a positive x cubed because you can tell the number in front of x cubed is 1. It's a positive 1. This is a positive graph. This is a positive graph because it goes up in the long term. See, the more I go across, it goes up. Whereas a shape like this, on the other hand, would be negative. See, it's the further I go across in that direction, it gets further and further smaller, like it goes down the y-axis. Okay, so that's a positive graph, that's a positive graph, this is a negative graph because that's going down. So really you're now narrowing it down to A, C, or D. The only thing you're missing is to clarify the x-intercepts. That's what you want to clarify. Okay, so the x-intercepts are all different in these ones here. So your job is to find the x-intercepts. And we know how to find the x-intercepts. We know it's when y equals 0. Yeah, y equals 0, and then we factorize and solve. True? But you can do all this on your CAS. Now, there's two ways to do this. You can try to factorize it first. So factor. So menu 3, 2, factor. And you go to x cubed minus x squared minus 10 times x minus 8. We know that the y value equals to 0, so it's equal to 0. Oh, sorry, we're not solving. We're doing factor. So, comma x. It factorizes it for you, so here we go. And technically, since you know that's equal to 0, you can say solve, bracket. Now you can use your cursor, move it, highlight it, bring it down, so that they're equal to 0. Solve for x, so comma x. And bam, it tells me x equals negative 2, negative 1, and 4. X is negative 2, negative 1, 4. Negative 2, negative 1, 4. This is the only one. Everything else is wrong. Wrong. And wrong. Okay. So that was one way of doing it with the CAS for that question. Alternatively, you can sketch the graph. You could have gone Control, remember Doc. See that blue symbol here says add a page. So I'm adding a page. I'm going to go to number 2 to add a graph. And I can actually type in the equation. You know, I can just type it in and say x cubed minus, what is it, x squared minus 10 times x plus 8, no, minus 8. Okay, and you can then find the x-intercepts for these. So remember to find the x-intercepts, you can go menu, analyze 0, which is number 1, so 6, 1, and we can pick left to the right, and you get negative 2, 0, and you can do it again, so menu, 6, 1, and then you pick a point from the left of the intercept, pick a point on the right of the intercept, and you get negative 1, 0, and then you do it again, menu 6, 1, and pick a point from the left of the intercept, pick a point from the right of the intercept, and you get 4, 0. Okay, so we got negative 2, negative 1, 4. Up to you, however you want to do it. I was just showing you how you could do it using the 3 skills I've taught you: factor, define, solve, expand. Yeah. Alright, what else is there? We've got number 6 down. So far, the answers were D, B, A, D, D, C. Okay, I'll just circle that so it looks good. Here we go. Now, section B, it's not a non-CAS, so we can do this. It's a 2-mark question, so it wants you to state the quotient and the remainder. Again, you can use your CAS because it's a non-CAS question. So here we go. We can use our CAS. We're trying to find the division of this cubic with this and find the remainder. So really, I would use prop fraction. So menu, actually, I'm just bring my cursor down. Menu, number, fraction tools, proper fraction, and I'm going to type in the fraction that we have here. We've got x cubed plus 3x squared, x cubed plus 3x squared minus 2x plus 7. Okay, yep, and it's divided by x plus 1. Just double checking that I've done it right. Minus 2x plus 7. Yes. Okay, now what we can see here is this is my quotient. Okay, that's what the result is. When you divide this by x plus 4, this is your quadratic factor, right? The remainder is -1 out of what you were dividing by. In our case, we were dividing by x plus 4, so our remainder is -1. So r is -1, and the quotient is x squared minus x plus 2. Yeah? So answering the question, I would say quotient is equal to, so I might even write x cubed plus 3x squared minus 2x plus 7 divided by x plus 4. And I'd write here, what's that? X squared minus x plus 2, and then I've got minus 1 over x plus 4. Now right here quotient, which was x squared minus x plus 2, and remainder is equal to -1. Okay. Cool is. Next one, what is the remainder when this is divided by this? So really you can use remainder theorem and rearrange it. So 3x plus 1 equals 0. That means x is equal to -3. You can sub x equals to -3 into the equation and get the result. You know, so from here you would say f of x is equal to 2x cubed plus 5x squared minus 3x plus 4. Okay, and we can say, I'm just going to do this like that, and then we can say f of -1/3 is equal to, and you can use your calculator to sub that in. So I would do define f of x is equal to 2x cubed 5x squared, whoops, plus 5x squared minus 3 times x plus 4. Okay, and then f of, and this is where I put in the fraction, -1 over 3, and I get 148 on 27. 148 on 27. Okay, there you go. Using remainder theorem. Alright, what is the remainder? So I got that, subbed it in, -1/3. Okay, cool. Oh, cool. I think I've covered all bases unless I typed something wrong. 5x squared minus 3x plus 4. No, that looks good. Perfect. Next one, factorize. Interesting because it says 3 marks. This is Mr. Paralysis test. I'm not sure if section B is meant to be non-calc or not. Because 3 marks would imply that you'd have to do the whole shebang, you know, step by step. So I'm finding that interesting. It's weird. And he didn't give much space either. So I think maybe it's just to factorize and get the 3 correct brackets, which is weird. I mean, it's only one step. You literally just go factor bracket x cubed plus 9x squared plus 23x plus 15, comma x. You get your 3 brackets. There you go. This is equal to x plus 1, x plus 3, x plus 5. So I'm not sure why it's 3 marks there, but let's say if you were to do it by hand without a CAS, then you would have to test the factors of 15. So you got 1, 2, no, you don't have 2, sorry. You got 1, 3, 5, and 15, and it's plus minus, and you keep trying positive, negative, I would have tried positive 1 and negative 1. But since we know it's likely to be a negative 1 because we've got the answer already, then you'd be subbing in negative 1. So you would try sub x equals negative 1, and you get negative 1 cubed plus 9 times negative 1 squared plus 23 times negative 1 plus 15 works out to be negative 1 plus 9 minus 23 plus 15, and you know, minus 1 minus 23 is negative 24, and negative 24, 9 plus 15 is 24, so it gives you 0. So therefore, yeah, if x equals negative 1 is a factor, then x plus 1 is your linear factor. So now that you know that's a linear factor, you would do long division, so you'd do x plus 1 divided by x cubed plus 9x squared plus 23x plus 15. And then, you know, you do your long division here, so you'd say, I'll do it in blue here so we don't get confused. X squared times x will give me x cubed. X squared times 1 is positive x squared. Find this subtraction. So find the line, find the remainder. So 9 minus x squared is 8x squared. Drop down the value, plus 23x. Now you ask the same question again. You say something times x will give you 8x squared. So plus 8x, and that gives you 8x squared plus 8x. Find the subtraction, find the remainder. So we go 23 minus 8 is 15x. Drop down the value, plus 15. So this is plus 15. And 15 times x is 15x, but then 15 times 1 is plus 15. Find the subtraction, 0, 0. Okay, so now that you know, the factors, you had x plus 1, and you got your quadratic factor, x squared plus 8x plus 15. You can factorize this, and that becomes x plus 1, and that becomes x plus 3, x plus 5. Okay, that's how you get the answer. If you were to do it by hand, that would be a 3-marker question. I'm not sure why it was given 3 marks for a CAS question. Mainly because the space wasn't really given to. But anyways, question 4, if you were to solve this one, same thing, 2 times 4 minus 2x cubed minus 54. If you would do this by hand, you can bring everything across, so minus 54, add 54 on both sides, so you got 2 bracket 4 minus 2x cubed is equal to 54. Divide both sides by 2. 4 minus 2x cubed is equal to, what's 27, and then cube root both sides, so you get 4 minus 2x is equal to cube root of 27, which is 3, and then bringing the 4 across, so minus 2x is equal to negative 1, so negative 4 on both sides, and then divide both sides by negative 2, so x is equal to half. Okay, or alternatively, again, you could have typed that in your calculator. Okay. Yes, I think I've done fine there. And okay, I've got 2 more pages. Here we go. This is TI calculator textbook of bound reference not permitted. Not permitted. Oh, wait a minute. What did the first question say? Oh! A TI calculator textbook of bound reference are not permitted. Whoops, I just did all of this without a cat. I mean, with a CAS. My bad. Well, now we'll do it all without CAS. But, I mean, most of the stuff is pretty straightforward. What I said, this is just long division, remainder theorem, cubic formula. From exercise 6C, you can solve that the same way I just did just now, and we did this, we can do this by hand. Oh, that would have been a tedious process. It's not that it's hard, it's just long. Anyways, here we go. Let's do this by hand then. Determine the x and y intercepts of the cubic graph. So we go x cubed plus 5x squared minus x minus 5. Well, you need to find x-intercepts, y-intercepts. Y-intercepts is easy. We already know when x is 0, y-intercept is negative 5. To find the x-intercepts, again, you need to find the factors of 5, but you got positive 1 and negative 1, and positive 5 and negative 5. So we'll try this out. Let's try 1. I always like to try 1. So x equals 1, you get 1 cubed plus 5 times 1 squared minus 1 minus 5. Let's see, that becomes 1 plus 5 minus 5. Minus 5 minus 1. So yeah, 6 minus 6. It just happens to work out. So therefore, x minus 1 is a factor since x equals 1. Yeah. So now that you know it's a factor, see, this makes more sense. For 4 marks, you're given that space. This one really feels like a calculator question. But anyways, here we go. We now know it's a factor, so we are going to go to x minus 1. Let's find the division with x cubed, 5x squared minus x minus 5. I'm going to use red. This becomes x squared times x is x cubed, x squared times negative 1 is minus 1x squared. Find the subtraction, 2 negatives make a positive, so that becomes 6x squared. Drop down the negative x, do the same thing again, plus 6x times that is 6x squared, and that's minus 6x. Subtract 0, 2 negatives become positive, so this becomes 5x, drop down the negative 5, and then that's plus 5. So 5x minus 5, find the subtraction, 0, 0. So what I know now is the y value is equal to, the first factor was x minus 1. The second factor is now x squared plus 6x plus 5, which if we factorize it, it becomes x minus 1, x bracket x, 5, 1, positive, positive. Okay. So what I can tell already is, therefore, for x-intercepts, when y equals 0, x minus 1, x plus 1, and x plus 5, therefore x is equal to 1, negative 1, and negative 5. So we were to sketch this now. Obviously, you have to use a ruler to sketch your axes. I can't use a ruler on this. But here we go. We know that the y-intercept was at 0, negative 5, and we know that these are my x-intercepts, and we also know it's a positive graph because it's positive x cubed, right? So in that case, here we go. We're going to put in the values. We've got 1, negative 1, and negative 5. So I'm going to put negative 5 over here, negative 1, 1, and we also know it crosses through negative 5. So it looks like it's going to be something like that. Okay, where this is negative 5. Okay, but there you go. So label your axes, y, x, 1, 0. Does it say in coordinates? No, it doesn't. But I guess it's always good habits. Negative 5, 0, and then 0, negative 5. There you go, I'll just rub these. Oh no! Let's draw the axes back. There you go. Cool. That one's down. Next one, the polynomial. Okay, so this is the remainder theorem sheet I gave to you to practice. I said this is likely to be on the exam. Same idea. So we know that it has a factor of x plus 3. So when they say factor, what that means is there's a remainder of 0 when you substitute x equals negative 3. Yeah, I'm using remainder theorem or factor theorem. If it's a factor, it should have no remainders. So what it's really saying is, if I sub 3 into the equation, so it becomes 3 cubed plus m times 3 squared plus n times 3 minus 45, this whole thing has to equal to 0 because it's a factor. So 3 cubed is 27 plus 9m plus 3n minus 45. You get an equation where what's 27 minus 45? 27 minus 45 is what? Negative 18. So negative 18 plus 9m plus 3n. Bring the negative 18 across, or add both sides by negative 18. Add both sides by 18. And you get 18 equals to 9m plus 3n. Personally, I like to simplify early, so I noticed that they're all factors of 3, so I'll divide them all by 3. And that gives you one equation. Okay, and then you got your second piece of information. It says when it's divided by x plus 6, it has a remainder of negative 6. What that means is that the remainder is negative 99 when you substitute x equals to negative 6. Okay, so same thing again. I'll say, well, p of negative 6 would equal to negative 6 cubed plus m times negative 6 squared plus n times negative 6 minus 45. I seriously find this strange to do it all by hand without a CAS, but I guess it's 4 marks. Mainly because the number's getting pretty large right now. What's 36 times 6? I think that's 216, I think. Is it? Yeah, 216. Alright, perfect. So this is negative 216 minus, now 36m. Yeah, 36m minus 6n minus 45. So all of this is meant to equal to negative 99. Now let's work it all out. Add 200. I like to collect the numbers together. So 216, negative 216 minus 45 is negative 261 minus 36 minus, oh wait, I'm missing the m. Yeah. And 6n, so mn, and this is negative 99. Add 261 on both sides, so 261 really ends up minusing 99, and you get 162 is equal to negative 36m minus 6n. Yeah, I find this strange to do it all by hand. I don't know if you have enough space. But anyways, is that a factor of 6? If I divide that by 6, 6 goes twice, 4. Yes, it does work. 162 divided by 6 should be, what is it equal to? 27? I think so. 27 equals to negative 6m, and that becomes minus n. That's equation 2. Okay. Now that you got equation 2, notice n and n are the same quantity, so you can say, therefore, equation 1 plus equation 2, 6 plus 27 will end up giving you, what, 33 is equal to 3m plus negative 6m becomes negative 3m, and then n plus, yeah, they'll cancel out. So therefore, m equals negative 11. Okay, now if m is equal to negative 11, you can figure out n. I'd sub it into equation 1 just because it has no negatives. So that'll be negative 33. N will equal to plus 33, so 39. There you go. Cool. Next one, just these two. We'll find the other two factors. So now that I know that x plus 3 was a factor and I know what m and n is, so p of x, which is x cubed, what was m again? Minus 11 x squared plus 39 x minus 45, because we figured out m and n, and we know that x plus 3 is a factor. So that means if I took the equation p of x divided by x plus 3, I should get a 0 remainder. So I need to do cubic division to figure it out. This time I'm going to do synthetic, just to show those, again, who may have forgotten it. Rearrange the x plus 3 and you get minus 3 here. Write down the coefficients, so 1, negative 11, 39, minus 45. Drop down the value, so 1 goes down, negative 3 times 1 is negative 3, negative 11 minus 3 is negative 14, and then negative 3 times negative 14, what is that again, negative 42, and then negative 42 plus 39, that's negative 3, I think, yeah, negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9, that doesn't work out. I've done something wrong. What did I do? Uh-oh. Did I write the equation wrong? No. 39. That's negative 14. 12, put a 1, yeah, negative 42. Should give you a remainder of 0. Did I do something wrong? Maybe it was finding n? and m was negative 11, so this becomes, oh, I think my n might be wrong. So 27 equals negative 6. Oh wait, no. Let's do this. The top line was 6 equals 3m, so 6 equals 3 times negative 11 plus n, negative 33, so bring it across, yeah, 33 plus 6, 39. Yeah. Why doesn't it work? 1, negative 11, 39, negative 45. Am I doing it wrong? What's going on? It's minus 3. Why is this plus 9? That's not right. Something's wrong. Negative 11 minus 3. No, something's wrong. I don't know where I made my mistake. Alright, let's solve it with the CAS. So apparently if I subbed in negative 3, it should equal to 0. Did I do that? Oh, there it is. I used 3 the whole time. That's a negative 3. Ah, there we go. This is a negative. Negative. So this becomes minus 3n. That's still 9. This is negative 27. Negative 27. Ah, okay, so this will change the equation here. What happened to my pen? No, worst timing. Come on, pen. I'm not going to do this whole video again. I don't want to. I don't have time. Here we go. So, what was it again? So I got up to negative 27 minus 45, negative 72. Bring the 72 across. So this is 72. Divide them all by 3. So instead of 6, it's 2, 1, 24. Is that right? 12, 1, 21. 6, 1, 7. Yeah, I think it's right. Okay, so that only changes, yeah, equation 1, so 3, negative 3m is still there. The only thing that changes is here. It's 24 plus 27. 24 plus 27 is 51. So this should be 51. Is that correct? Yeah, equation 1 plus equation 2, 24, 51, negative 3m, these two cancel out. And then how many 3's in 51? 3, so it goes 1, 17. I think 1, 2, yes, 17. But negative 17, woo, just in case I get a mistake. So m is negative 17. To find n, that means subbing in, sorry, this is minus 17. Subbing in negative 17 in 3 times negative 17 is negative 51, but then adding both sides, so 51 plus 24 is 75. So n should equal to 75. Ooh, looks like the number's getting larger and larger. Let's test this. Okay, so negative 3 as my, I'm doing synthetic division. So here we go. We've got 1, negative 17, 75. And the other one's minus 45. So let's see if this gives you 0. 1, negative 3, this is minus 20. Positive 60, and this is 15. No, not 15. And then 20, positive 60. 135. No, something's wrong. Oh my god, what am I doing wrong? Something's wrong. It must be a negative 75. for it to work. Why is it negative 75? Negative 17. If I subbed in... I've done an arithmetic error somewhere, so I'm trying to figure it out. If m is negative 17 times 3 is negative 51, add 51 on both sides, is 75. N equals 75. Oh, I know why. It's because the mistake I did before, that was a negative 3, that's a negative 3. This should be a negative 3. This should be a negative 3. And therefore this becomes negative n. There we go. That's negative 75. So this is a negative 75. And this is a negative 75. This gives you negative 15. And that plus 45. There we go. Oh, God. That was terrible. Sorry, guys. Techniques there. Obviously, I made an arithmetic error. Hopefully, you guys picked up on my error there. Otherwise... hopefully you watch till the end then. 1x squared minus 20x minus 15. Factorize it down, x plus 3, and that becomes x, and what's that? What would you multiply? 3 and 5? No, 3 and 5 doesn't give you that. Find the other two factors. Yeah, so they have to work. Factors are 15, 3 and 5 doesn't work, 15 and 1 doesn't work. Those are the only factors. You can't factorize that. That's going to be some really weird. Now you're going to have to use completing the square to solve. I really find this odd that this is a non-CAS question. Otherwise, that should be nice. When I make my sack, it'll be nice. Okay. 1x squared minus 20x. Is that minus 20x? Well, everything worked out, so it has to be right. Minus 20x. Factors of negative 15. You got 1 and 15, or 3 and 5. I can't think of anything else. That can't make 20. Alright. It looks like you have to complete the square to solve. But they only want you to find the other two factors. Alright, let's complete the square. So if I complete the square here, this would end up being x minus 10 squared. So half the b term, and then you square that. So that becomes plus 10 squared minus 10 squared, which is minus 100. Minus 100 minus 15, so minus 115. So really, your answer, which is a very, very, very ugly answer, using difference of perfect squares now, you got x minus 10 minus root of 115, which I'm not even sure if you can do that. Root of 115. No, I don't think so. Root of 115 versus x minus 10 plus root of 115. Okay. There's my other two factors. Sketch the graph, 4 marks. It's not the best revision sheet, but you know, I'm just going to write the solutions for it. Hopefully you watched the video. Here we go. So we can tell that it is a positive graph. Yes, it is a positive graph, and it crosses through negative 3. So it crosses through negative 3. Y-intercept, which we can tell is minus 45. And you got all these other values here. I guess the problem is we don't know if at x equals, what, that's 10 plus, and this would be 10 minus root 115. So 10 minus square root of 115 is equal to negative point something. Probably a decimal, I reckon a decimal, negative decimal. So maybe this is obviously in the positive region. All right, so it probably will look like that. Something like that, where this point here is 10 plus root 115 when y is 0, and this point here would be 10 minus root 115 y is 0. Okay. Unless I made a mistake, but I'm pretty sure we can't factorize that equation. Let me try that. Factor x squared minus 20 times x plus, was it 15? No, minus 15, comma x. Yeah, no, I was right. Okay, well, and yeah, like I said, without a CAS, that was a bit weird to do, but I think maybe that was the expectation. Strange. Obviously, doing all of this with CAS feels more right. These questions feel more right. But then again, they're all short answer questions, not an application question. So it's hard to tell. But definitely multiple choice, you have to use a CAS. So if you learned how to use a CAS here, great. Any of these that you, not sure how to do by hand, you got to learn how to do it by hand too. But there you go. If I do give you multiple choice questions, these will be CAS. I'll tell you which ones will CAS, and the ones that I don't use CAS, they should come out nicely. You should be able to do it by hand. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching, and I'm going to pause this video wherever the pause button is.